For today's little adventure, we are on day 9 of the Disney Storybook Collection Advent Calendar. Day 9 is The Incredibles 2. A day out with my mom. One day, Helen was out shopping with her children. She was helping her daughter, Violet, find a dress for her first date, while Dash looked after Jack Jack. He zoomed Jack Jack around the mall until his mother noticed. Dash, she yelled. No running with the baby. Dash knew he wasn't supposed to use his powers in public for fun. I'm battling evils of boredom, he explained. Helen raised her eyebrows and said, Stop. Helen and Violet began picking out things for Violet to try on, but Dash and Jack Jack kept distracting them. When Jack Jack spotted the mall carousel, he whined and shouted, Ba 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 ba. Dash kept groaning it as if he were in pain. Helen handed Dash some cash. Take your brother on the carousel and go enjoy the mall, she said, forcing a smile. Meet us at the fountain in about an hour. Thanks, said Dash, who then wheeled, laughing and clapping Jack Jack away. Helen sighed. Okay, now we can focus. She pulled some dresses off the rack, and Violet tried on each one, but none of them seemed like the right fit. They went into another shop, and Violet found an outfit she liked. This is cute, she said, but so casual, said Helen. She held up a couple of dresses. Look at these. Violet smiled and took them into the dressing room. Meanwhile, Dash and Jack Jack were having a blast. First, they rode on the carousel. Then Dash brought Jack Jack the biggest lollipop he could find. Able to decide what he wanted, Dash bought every kind of candy for himself. At the fountain, Helen felt sad that they hadn't found Violet anything for her to wear on her date. Soon after, Dash showed up with Jack Jack. Sorry, we're late, he cried. Before Helen could reply, an alarm blared from the jewelry store. The villains slept on their masks and revealed their super suits. The Incredibles were ready for action. At the jewelry store, the owner explained how the thief took the jewelry and money from the register before literally vanishing. Elastic Girl and the kids looked for clues. Do you think the villain can turn invisible like V? Asked Dash. Their store alarm blared. The supers took off toward it. Alarms are now blaring from every corner of the mall. Maybe it's a team of thieves, said Elastic Girl. Or maybe he can multiply like Jack Jack, suggested Violet. Hearing the Jack Jack multiplied, and each baby wandered off in a different direction. A moment later, they heard Jack Jack babbling angrily, and Elastic Girl yelled, Food court! Violet, Elastic Girl collected as many Jack Jacks as they could, while Dash raced to find the thief. Dash spotted the burglar and could tell right away he was definitely a super villain. As Dash rushed toward him, he vanished in a flash of light. Dash didn't notice as the burglar appeared right behind him. Elastic Girl arrived with an armful of Jack Jacks. She stretched out to catch the villain, but he disappeared and reappeared at another cash register behind her. Name's Blind Spot, said the villain, smirking. He disappeared whenever one of the Incredibles got close to him. Then Violet saw Blind Spot. Coffee shop, she yelled, pointing at him. Dash and Elastic Girl ran over. All the Jack Jacks in Elastic Girl's arms merged back into one and headed toward Violet. Violet scooped up Jack Jack, who used his laser eyes against Blind Spot, but he disappeared again. Even with his super speed, Dash wasn't fast enough to catch the vanishing villain. Elastic Girl stretched and wound her body through the mall, creating a labyrinth of traps, hoping to trip him up, but Blind Spot managed to disappear and reappear his way through the mall with ease. The Violet caught Blind Spot reflection in one of the carousel mirrors. His eyes opened wide, and he began to run. Dash approached the Blind Spot, disappeared again. Violet had an idea. She found Blind Spot stealing cash from a clothing store register and kicked all the dressing room doors open, removing the mirrors inside. Once again, Blind Spot looked up at a mirror caught. Dash and Elastic Girl realized what Violet already knew. He was traveling through their blind spots. That's why they call the blind spot. He only used mirrors, so it was impossible for Blind Spot to disappear. Violet then threw a force field over the villain and trapped him inside. It was an Elastic Girl noticed a dress in the window and pointed out to Violet. I'm sorry to disappoint you, Mom, said Violet, but I don't really like dresses. Poor Blind Girl anchored the force field to the fountain, locking the trapped Blind Spot in place. Violet said, I understand. I just wanted to spend some quality time with you. Well, you got your wish, said Violet. Nothing says family like catching a supervillain together. With Blind Spot safe in custody, the family changed and headed home. You know what I wore on my first date with your father? Helen asked Violet. Violet shook her head. I have no idea, Helen said. Clothes don't really matter, so wear something you like. You'll look fantastic no matter what. The end.